talk about building. This is Dabu7, once again taking a look at what is coming around the corner and hoping that other people have a plan. We've already heard the ominous warning from these tyrants that talk about build back better, talking about dark winters. Now, we have a situation where natural gas is spiked through the roof. This is being set up global, just like the boats sitting out off the coastline in the waterway, just sitting there. We're being choked off. You need to get this. I'm going to say it again and again. This is what's happening right in front of your eyes. And you'd be a fool not to prepare for a situation like this, which is coming. We've known it for a long time. And whether it's the internet or it's the lights themselves, whether it's from a CME, EMP, or them just shutting it off, it can happen many different ways. A lot of people have always thought, well, an EMP, oh, that sounds kind of crazy. Far-fetched. We've shown the evidence that it can happen. Aside from that, you don't need that to happen. All you need is the government to say there's constraints on everything. I mean, did you forget what just happened in Texas this past year? Forget about the ice storm that crippled everybody this past winter already? I haven't. And I can see the ominous sign and the writing on the wall where our supplies are already low. If they hit us with a very bad winter, people will die. They will die. They will freeze to death. It's inevitable. And if large swaths of the UK and of Europe get hit like this, oh man, Europe's in a good position. You ain't hearing, or not Europe, Russia. Russia, they just collapsed their exports to Europe by 77%. They're sitting pretty and will be. The other countries here, it looks like they're about to suffer. Let's see where we sit, because we stopped exporting at the level we were quite a few years ago, and we're not in a good position here in the United States either. So, you just wait. Let's see what goes down this winter. Will we get hit with a situation like what happened with Texas? Will it be worse? Well, if it's worse, you better have a plan. I'm going to talk about some of these details on the upcoming live shows. Make sure to join me. Going live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern next week and on.
Hey, shalom, shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders, the apostles of Great Millstone, blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Hey, real quick, man, I've been kind of covering this topic for the last few weeks, going into the blackouts and the stage crisis and the dark winter situation. Just earlier this year, he made an interesting point. He went into what happened over Texas in the Midwest, known as what they call a polar vortex, which was about a 2-week span of inclement cold weather. I mean, the weather was freezing. People were literally dying and freezing to death because, you know, the people didn't have any power, but in the downtown areas of these cities like Dallas, Houston, and, you know, various Midwestern states. So it makes sense that this winter, they're talking about a dark winter. Possibly that may be the case because, you know, what will kick off Jacob's trouble outside of something horrific like that? You know, because the scriptures does go into a time of suffering beyond human reasoning. So that was horrendous, man. That winter we just had, the last 2 weeks of it, so to speak. That was very devastating. It was so cold to the point we couldn't even go out and prophesy it was that cold. It was like 12 below. I mean, 10 minutes in that thing, it feels like you would drop dead. You know, and it was that freaking cold, man. And in most camps, I don't think really went out that week. Instead, we resorted to doing like in-house sit-downs. But that's how cold it was. And they're talking about that happening again. A lot of people getting ready to get evicted from their homes because the eviction moratorium has expired. Or if it haven't, I believe it expires sometime this month. But through the spirit, it's finna get crazy out here, man. And he said we got to prepare for it. Well, one thing he's been misled on is he's trying to prepare physically for this thing. Okay, the scriptures tells us that we can't prepare physically for it, but rather spiritually. Okay, mentally. Okay, because our faith is in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, not a grocery store, not man. Not our weapons and stuff like that. Because for the simple fact of you have what they call a food shortage, because you have what they call, it's called like a wall of trailers, or whatever terminology they use to show you that all the shipping containers that's basically just shipped on the coast of Cali and out in the Pacific and around the world, how these particular containers are not reaching the docks, or they're not reaching the stores, which they're talking about as a shortage of workers, which that's a lie. Okay, they don't have the money due to inflation to send these things to the store. They don't have the money to pay the providers because the other nations, they're getting ready to drop this dollar, man. Okay, so we have an economic crash, then we're sure to see a damn dark winter, man, because energy prices are going to go up. You see what I'm saying? So this is a video here. Well, not a video, but an article from Zero Hedge. It says, looming energy crisis. People are going to die this winter. And it came out October the 1st, which was Friday. That's a lot, I'm eating something. But it says here, for many months, myself, for many investors I work with, have become increasingly concerned about the growing instability and security of energy markets, because all these markets are being manipulated and they're being controlled. You see, and surprisingly, my gas bills this summer, they've been relatively low. But then again, I haven't been using much of it either. Then my gas bill was like $48, man, this month. But what happens is sometimes I don't pay it on time. Sometimes I forget to pay it. I'll let that shit pile up. Then I'll pay it all off at once. Because Jake got a lot of shit going on. I ain't thinking about that stuff, But nonetheless, you got like a $300 some gas bill in over a 6-month period. That's really not bad at all when you just pay that off. But nonetheless, these things are getting ready to increase because supposedly energy or gas prices supposed to increase in the summer because it's a higher consumption of fuel that's being used, fossil fuels, etc. Even in the wintertime, a lot of people are running their ACs. I mean, their heaters. So that's going to cause the prices and the demand to go up, especially if we have another winter like we just had this year. Well, towards the latter end of it, because overall, winter last year wasn't really too bad. It was, it was typical winter. But now they're talking about a even worse one than we've had in a long time. So it's possible, and we'll see. But it says the 4-time spike in gas prices this year has been a shocking wake-up call, highlighting energy insecurity in Europe and particularly the UK. It says gas prices will remain elevated for months to come, but the consequences are going to be brutal and fatal for some. Okay. It says energy, whether derived from fossil fuels, nuclear or renewables, it is a commodity and it is a critical thing. And it says the commodities is you can't print commodities like you could print money, but the rules are not the same. Okay. And this is just going into some information about it. I'm not going to even read it all because we understand what it's going to go into, and this is a pretty lengthy article and we want to keep it straight to the point. But with that being said, man, we're going to hop straight into the scriptures. So this is the book of Ezekiel 30:1, and I'm going to start here. And it says, and the word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Son of man, prophecy and say, thus says the Lord Yahweh, how ye woe worth the day, for the day is near, even the day of the Lord is near, a cloudy day, and it should be the time of the heathen. Okay, the time of you heathens are going to be judged, because the heathens, they're going to fight World War III against Yahweh Shai. That's why you're seeing all these nations gearing up to fight this war, man. And part of the energy crisis, that's part of it. Then the dollar is on its way out. Okay, you got the digital currency, and then you got everybody that's in a frenzy due to the situation they've been talking about for a year and a half. So everybody is on edge. But it says, and a sword shall come upon Egypt, okay, and great pain should be in Ethiopia, and the slain shall fall in Egypt, and they shall take away her multitude, and the foundation should be broken down. All right, because the infrastructure of this society, man, is breaking down fast. You know what I'm saying? That's why lately, man, brothers have just been in the spirit of just constantly pumping out shows, constantly going hard, constantly, because right now we don't have time to stress about anything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, your average day life may get in the way and cause a hindrance, but overall, we're not going to be attached to none of this stuff in a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be attached to your homes, your bills. You know, we finna totally go off the scene, so to speak. We finna be as pilgrims, because eventually, when they come down with more mandates, you're gonna need the you know what in order to sustain some type of habitable living. You know, and that's what they're trying to starve out everybody. But it says, "Thus said the Lord, they also that uphold Egypt shall fall." And who's upholding Egypt? Jake, man. Okay, and you other nations, mainly you Israelites, because you're the biggest consumers of this nation. You're the ones that's keeping it going, because hey, you're the ones that's getting up, going to work every day, and paying taxes. You're shopping. You know, for the people that's the poorest people on the planet, show spends the most money. You know, and it says, "And they also uphold Egypt shall fail, and the pride of her power should come down, and the tower of Serene shall fall in it by the sword, says the Lord." Okay, and they should be desolate in the midst of the countries that are desolate, and our cities should be in the midst of the cities that are wasted. And then they should know that I am the Lord, when I have set a fire in Egypt, and when all our helpers should be destroyed. Okay, so really that fire is going into the nuclear destruction. All right, but overall, man, you have certain things that's happening in the world that's leading to a sure collapse here in Babylon. You know what I'm saying? Because hey, the Spirit of the Lord, he has the prophets out there to foretell all the events that's going to happen. And the fact that we have articles like this, the Zero Hedge, bringing about certain information, this helps us to extrapolate this information and filter it through the scriptures. You know, like going here, and this is a good example. That's the spirit plagues, increasing oil spills. And actually, this is a good article, man. I may just post a link in the description, so you know, brothers can actually read it all, because I'm not going to read it all. But I found this rather interesting. It says energy is different; it can kill us. It says that was conclusively demonstrated earlier this year in Texas, but it wasn't in Texas. It was in Missouri, Illinois, I think Montana, and certain Midwestern states. It says a swift series of winter storms crashed the Texan grid when gas infrastructure failed in the cold. It says renewables wasn't delivering, and it says the deregulation of its energy system had delinked Texas from both U.S. power grids, making it difficult to import energy. So they say. It says over 200 people died as a result of power outages. Okay, and I mean, it was cold as hell, to the point people, they didn't have power, but yet they was resorting to getting in their cars in a garage and turning on the damn AC system, the gas system, and they were killing themselves from carbon monoxide poisoning, which is stupid. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people were that desperate to remain warm, but the reality of it is, man, at the expense of your own life, it's not really a good trade. But nonetheless, people are going to be in despair because they're not expecting it to happen. All right, they're not expecting it at all. Why? Because bread and circus is being promoted. You know what I'm saying? The promise of jobs, the promise of getting out of the situation is being promoted. Everybody's taking the jab, etc. You know what I'm saying? Hoping for a better day of optimism. But unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. All right. So this is the book of 2 Esdras 8. And I'm going to start at verses 50. And it reads, and it says here, "For many great miseries should be done to them in the latter time that should dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride." Okay. Because it's all due to the pride of the people. Like, you people were extremely proud. Okay, you don't take into consideration nobody else's feelings, nobody else's belongings. Okay, you don't care about your fellow person. It's all about me, 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 me. That's why I said Babylon the Great, it breeds narcissism at its entirety, man. Because when all hell breaks loose, you're gonna see that people are gonna start coming against one another. You know, like these women, they're extremely proud. Here they're losing. Here they're the least desired women on the planet. And yet our women still walking around with their head up their ass, man. You know, like somebody owed them something. So it's a heavy demonic spirit in the land of Babylon, aka America, man. And this is bound to get worse. And it says, "But understand thou for thyself, and seek out the glory for such as be like thee." Okay, and that's seeking the hope for elect, the man of the Lord, because hey, we can't really connect with too many people in this society because they don't understand the truth. You know, when you try to break the truth down to certain individuals, they look at you like you got 12 heads. So, hey, find a men that's like you and like-minded. This is why we do shows. This is why we go out to the highways and the byways because it's more like a beacon call, a signal beacon that we're casting out, and the person that is meant, they're gonna grasp it, and then they're gonna come involved in it. You know what I'm saying? Like the camp videos, our camp videos get quite a few views, and that's a good thing because they see that we're out there, and the Lord has done that particularly because that way, when people start getting jacked up, they won't have an excuse to say, well, look, man, these men were out there week in, week out. There's no excuse as to why you didn't come up there and deal with the word. And then some people going to come up there on their own merit. Some people are going to come up trying to get right at the last minute. Then you're going to have those that's going to come up to think they're going to get something. But reality of it is the Most High is going to separate the sheep from the goat. All right. Last precept. This is the book of 2 Esdras 16:23. It says, and the dead should be cast out as dung, and there should there should be no man left to comfort them. But for the earth should be wasted and the city should be casted down. Right. So in this scenario, you're not going to have any power. You're going to have those generators, like when you watch those apocalyptic movies and you got the military platoons that's set up in the camps. You see like these big buzz lights that's powered by a generator. But overall, you're not going to be able to come in your house and flick a switch and say, let there be light. No, it's not going to be like that. You ain't going to have any toilet water. You ain't going to have any sink running faucet water. Your stoves are not going to work because everything is powered through electricity now, even certain smart meters. So be careful, brothers, when they're trying to sell you these different type of appliances or these different meters to connect your water hookup to your electrical grid, man, because once the power goes out, you ain't got no water. And water is pretty much the common commodity of survival is water. Okay, because first and foremost, you need water before anything else, So, yeah, man, they're getting ready to crack down on all this stuff, and think about the sanitation systems. When your plumbing is all bagged up, you try to take a bowel movement and you can't flush the toilet. Then you got trash piling up everywhere because you don't have any solid waste or no municipal services coming around and put the shit in the trash, man. It's going to be hell. And then that's going to attract animals from outside the city, because they're going to be looking for food, and that's going to bring them in the city because you ain't going to have no public works workers working in this time. So it's going to be total mess. And then, the diseases, the dead bodies, it's going to be a total mess. And then you're going to have martial law. Oh, it's getting ready to get real here, man. So, brothers, we just got to focus on this truth. Everything else is minuscule compared to this. You know what I'm saying? So be proactive. And it reads here, and it says, and there should be no man left to till the earth and to sow it. The farmers ain't going to be killed off. The city workers, the state workers, the county workers. It says, and the trees should give fruit, but who should gather them? And the grapes should ripen, and who should tread them? For all the places should be desolate of men, so that one man should desire to see another and to hear his voice. For of a city there should be 10 left, and 2 of a field, which should hide themselves in the thick groves and in the clefts of the rocks, meaning in the woods. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go out to the wilderness. People going to go to the mountains to try to hide, to these caves. And as in an orchard of olives upon every tree, there are left 3 or 4 olives. Or as a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so in those days there should be 3 or 4 left by them that search their houses with the sword. And the earth should be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man should travel there through. So your city's gonna literally look like concrete jungles with trees and grassroot crabgrass. You're gonna have infrastructure breaks when nobody is tilling the plumbing lines, like the gas lines in the cities, or the water lines. Those are gonna implode, especially from the winters we're gonna have. You gonna have a shortage of city workers, water department workers, as they can't service the pipes. So what happens? Those pipes bust. They cause fractures in the concrete. Infrastructure breaks down, bridges collapse, trees growing up everywhere, pollution. Downtown is gonna look like a jungle, man. Just in a matter of months. So that's the times we coming into, man. So just be prepared, man, and let's get our minds right. But anyway, with that, all praises and glory, honor that's due to you. How about you? How was shy? Shalom and the Bible ball.